Hi, welcome to my latest video. Well, if you've been following along recently, you might recall a video that I had to return my RØDECaster Duo sound system back to Rode because it didn't seem to be acting right between the two XLR ports. Well, I just got it back a few days ago and same problem. So I think they sent me a refurbished one. That's my best guess. I mean, it was packaged almost like a new one, except that little bubble thing they put on the side to hold it here looked like it was placed kind of quickly on there. It wasn't the same level of automation that I've seen. And it included a little package that showed all the testing that it had been put through. So each of the tests are checked off by the technician and things like that. So I assume they probably had this one. Maybe it was a spare, maybe it was refurbished, I don't know. But it works exactly as the previous one, but it's a different serial number, a much newer one. So I know that they did replace it. There was no note inside saying why they did what. I guess I could email them and see if they respond to it, and that's something I may do after this video. I then spent the next, I don't know, 2 days playing with it, trying to figure out what was going on. I even went and looked at other folks' videos about the RØDECaster Duo, nothing in that category. But I did find one that was on the RØDECaster Pro 2, which is the one that has 4 channels to it. And I'll put the link to that video down below because I think it did help me isolate the problem. Not really a problem. Apparently this RØDECaster Duo, it's not just reduced by 2 XLR ports. It also is reduced by some capabilities when it comes to the menuing system. Even though I did update the firmware as soon as it came in to make sure I had the latest and greatest. What I'll do is I'm going to demonstrate why it's impossible to get those FX sound effects to work with both channels simultaneously. Even though that video I just referenced showed you could do it for all 4 ports simultaneously. But guaranteed, it does not work. And I played with it for quite a bit, and it works consistently once I change the right menu choices on the system in order to switch it from one mic to the next. But it can never be both. It just won't let you do it. So let me go ahead and demonstrate that so you can see what I'm talking about, just in case you've run into the problem or will run into the problem sometime in the near future. Okay? Okay, here's my setup for the testing. I have 2 SM7Bs, each one separate with matching cushion and cable in both cases. I'm going to test them like this side by side as we try each of the sound effects and then as we change those sound effects, okay? So let's proceed. So as you can see down here, we have the matching cable connectors. I've changed the colors to show each of the ports with the matching color. So the blue cable, which is connected to the blue microphone, is connected to the blue port, port 1. And the red, so forth, the same way. So now let's take a look at what these sound effects sound like. Now, I happen to have recorder capability on this RØDECaster Duo, so I'll be using that as we do this testing. And that's activated by this because I have an SD card in there. So the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to turn on the recorder, and the sound you're going to hear as long as I'm recording here is going to be from the recorded version of the sound, not from the camera itself. I'll do the switch in the edit. Okay, now you should be hearing me from the blue microphone. If I talk into the red microphone, you will hear nothing because I have it all the way turned down at this point. Okay? I currently am looking at one of my favorite sound effects on the screen, the large robot, the FX large robot, and that's this button over here. Watch what happens when I turn it on.
How does that sound with the large robot? Does that sound like something interesting? Lower your weapons.
Now I turned it off so you don't hear it anymore. But let me switch microphones. Let me lower this one. And I raise that one. And I'm talking through the red microphone now. But watch what happens when I turn the sound effect on. Does that sound any different? It doesn't to me. I'm listening through my headset. It sounds exactly the same. Let's go ahead and then show you exactly how you can switch them in the RØDECaster. Let me lower this and turn off the recording. Okay, we're back talking through the camera at this point. Let me show you the way to change this. I'll turn it off first. Okay, we're now listening through the camera again. I have both sounds turned off. All sound effects are disabled as well. So let's say I want to change the large robot, this button here. I want to switch it from port 1 to port 2, the blue to the red. This button here is configured right now to control the sound of the sound effects that are coming out from the RØDECaster to my headsets or to the computer if I connect it. So what I do is I click on this first, and now you see I can change the sound effects, and what I want to do is say configure smart pads. And now if I hit the large robot, I can now say edit. Right off the bat up here, you see a 1 and a 2 and a headset. That's the front headset that goes down over here. So you can move it to any of those in terms of how it's going to output. However, you cannot do both or all three. If I click it, it disables the other one. See? So I can go to 1, but not the other. So now let me switch it to number 2. Once I switch it to number 2, as long as I'm here, let me show you this. This says latching and unlatching. That's a good thing to know. Right now, when you push the button, it stays on. That's called latching. If I turn it off here with this option and it grays out, then it'll only work as long as you press the button. Sometimes that's handy because I've seen people, and I've done it myself, they've left the sound effect on when they didn't want to. But I'll put it back on for now. So now we're going to port 2 with the monster sound effect, the large robot sound effect, excuse me, and we're going to say OK. We'll go back home, and now let's do a test of that. So the first thing I'll do once again is I'll turn on the recording. So now we're listening. That's coming out of the RØDECaster recording, not from the camera. What happens if I hit this FX large robot sound effect? I'm talking through the blue microphone now. I have the other one turned down. Do you hear anything different at this point? Nope, it's exactly the same. However, if I lower this one
and raise this one, now I'm getting the large robot sound out of port 2. If I turn it off,
now it's back to normal out of port 2. And this works for anything that says FX. I could switch any of the other ones between one port or the other. So for example, if I wanted to show, let's pick the megaphone. If I click on configure ports and I pick megaphone this time and I say edit, notice that one's still on 1. So megaphone will only work on port 1. It has not been switched. All I switched was the large robot one. I'll leave this alone, or what I'll do is I'll turn latching off for this one. Okay, just to show you how that sounds. Okay, so now let's go back home. What happens if I hit the megaphone? Now I'm still talking through the red one. Let's see what it does. I'll have to hold it down because it goes on and off. So now I'm talking through the megaphone on the red microphone. Do you hear any difference? I don't. But if I lower this one and I raise this one, now let's hit the megaphone and hold it down. This is the megaphone sound. Now it's coming. If I let go like this, it doesn't play anymore. I'll have to hold it down again in order to have it stay up. So that's how the latching works. So I figured I would let you know that as long as we were in it. In any case, this holds true for all of the FX sound effects. This is how you have to change them and what your limitations are. It's too bad that the Rode support team did not let me know that when I sent them the sample stuff. Maybe they just never tried it. But again, I don't have the RØDECaster Pro 2, but I did put the video down below of somebody who does and did some testing. You see you can do all of them simultaneously in terms of changing them. But that must be a feature that only the RØDECaster Pro 2 is capable of doing, not the RØDECaster Duo. Thanks for listening and thanks for watching. Until the next time, take care.